Good morning students, welcome back to online classes of analog communication. So it's been a long gap between your previous classes and today's class because of your examinations. I hope you are all done very well in your examinations. So today we are going to start our new chapter, that is fourth chapter, your transmitters and receivers. In today's class, before we are going to start the new chapter, I would like to revise all the previous chapters or the units what we have discussed till now. Okay, directly we'll go to the syllabus copy of that one. So in the first chapter we have seen about the amplitude modulation. Before go to the first unit, first we'll see what is actually modulation. Okay, so what is modulation? I hope you all remember what is actually the modulation. Nothing but combination of your high signal as well as the low level signal. The low level signal is nothing but your message signal, and the higher signal or the higher frequency signal is your carrier signal, because for the communication or for the long distance communication, so all this newly arising era, we need long distance communication. See, we are having mobile phones, internet, everything. So for all this one we need communication. So communication is nothing but you are combining your giving some energy to your information so that it can pass from one place to the another place for the long distance or any communication. So carrier frequency is the one which is having the higher frequency, which is combined with your message signal, which is a low frequency signal. Then it is transmitter, from a transmitter to the receiver. For example, we can consider that you people are the receivers and I am the transmitter. Whatever the information or whatever I am saying is the message signal or the information signal, right? So that has to be transmitted to you people, but I directly can't shout, right? My frequency is not that much high that you can hear directly my voice by sitting at your home. So you need a carrier frequency. So I am adding a carrier frequency to my message signal, and that is transmitted to the transmitter to the receivers. Correct? So that was your modulation. So in the first chapter we have seen about your modulation technique. I hope you all remember what was modulation. And okay, so in the first chapter we have completely seen about the modulation techniques, and then we have seen the block diagram of your communication system. Okay, what is how actually the communication all process will be going on. The message source, nothing but me, that is given to the input transducer. Transducer is the one which converts your sound energy into the electrical signals, right, which is given to the transmitter. From transmitter through a particular channel, it is transmitted to the receiver. Okay, whatever the information or whatever the message you are transmitting, that is compulsory given through a particular channel. Either channels might be either wired or wireless. Correct? Wired in the sense you will be having your landline phones. Wireless we can give a example of your mobile. Yes, so through a particular channel we will be having the information will be transmitted. Okay, then at the receiver side, your receiver will be receiving the signal. The output transducer, again it will be converting your electrical signals to the sound signals. Then at the destination, that is you people, you will be getting my original voice. Correct? So that is how your whole communication system will be working. So we have seen about the communication system, what is the need for communication system, why we need this communication system, for reducing the antenna height, then avoiding mixing of all the signals at a time. We can use multiplexing technique. Higher bandwidth is also not required that much. So, and mostly to improve the quality of your message signals or to improve the quality of your reception. So that was about your modulation. Correct? Now, for in the modulation, this is for in this semester we are completely seeing about your analog communication, means analog. It's not digitalized, continuous waveforms you are having. Okay, so the types of, this is the important tree diagram of your modulation. This you have to keep in mind always, that what is the communication, what are the different what is the modulation, and what are different types of modulation will be seen. Okay, so what are the two different types of modulations? One is continuous wave modulation and the second one is your pulse digital modulation. This pulse digital modulation is completely digitalized, discrete format that we will be seeing in your next upcoming semester. But here in this semester you will be having completely analog modulation. okay, or analog communication. So continuous wave modulation we have to do. So in continuous wave modulation we are having again two techniques, amplitude modulation and angular modulation. That is what we are having in your syllabus. First chapter is completely about your amplitude modulation and the second chapter is completely about your angle modulation, right? So this was your amplitude modulation and angular modulation. Again this angular modulation is again divided into two types, frequency modulation and phase modulation. So first we'll see what is amplitude modulation. I hope you everyone knows now. So amplitude modulation is nothing but varying the carrier frequency, varying the amplitude of your carrier frequency in accordance with your message signal. That is nothing but your amplitude modulation. And what are the two terms will be constant here? Your frequency as well as the phase, they both will be constant. Now when comes to your angular modulation or the frequency modulation, frequency of your carrier has to be changed because this carrier you are adding up, so your carrier has to be changed. So your frequency modulation is nothing but your frequency of the carrier is varied in accordance with your message signal. Reference signal is nothing, is your message signal. So frequency of your carrier is varied in accordance with your message signal. Then again same phase of your carrier will be varied in accordance with your message signal, and amplitude and frequency they both will be constant over here. Correct? This is the one which we will be seeing in this semester. In next semester again one more pulse code modulations or analog modulation schemes are there. They are completely on pulse modulation schemes. That will be your pulse amplitude modulation, pulse duration or nothing but your pulse width modulation and pulse position modulation. These three modulation techniques of your what we will say pulse coding modulations, and these are your continuous wave modulations. This in the semester we will be seeing about this thing. In the next semester we will be going for the digital modulation techniques. Correct? So first chapter was about your amplitude modulation. Then there are some drawbacks, like there will be some power more power will be used for your amplitude modulation and all. As to reduce all that one, we are going again for the next modulation technique, that is nothing but your what is it, DSBSC modulation. Okay, next one, the next generation of that one. So double sideband suppressed carrier, you have seen that one. Okay, then we have seen single sideband suppressed carrier. Then lastly is your vestigial sideband modulation. Okay, so in double sideband suppressed carrier what happens, you will be suppressing the carrier completely, so that's the reason the extra power will not be used, so no wastage of power is done. Then again you are having, why we have to waste two sidebands? So in single sideband what we have done, one sideband is completely suppressed because only the information is continuing only in the one sideband, so we have suppressed one sideband completely. Then again in the vestigial sideband what we are doing, one sideband is completely used, another sidebands, a portion of another sideband is used, so that in case if there is information in that particular sideband, it is also used or it is not missed. So this is how your continuous amplitude modulation was all about in your first chapter. Then comes to your second chapter, what you are having, angle modulation. So in angle modulation what you are having, the two different things, amplitude modulation as well as your frequency modulation as well as your phase modulation. So it is another way of modulating a sinusoidal carrier wave. So your continuous wave modulation techniques we are seeing. So it is one of the form of modulating a sinusoidal carrier wave. So that is called as your angle modulation, and this angle modulation is of two forms again. One is your frequency, another one is your phase modulation. So again your frequency modulation, we have seen all the mathematical expressions for all this, and this frequency modulation is again divided into two types. I hope you remember, that is your narrow band frequency modulation and wide band frequency modulation. So when we will say that your frequency modulation is narrow band, is that when your modulation index is less than 1. See, in angle modulation the modulation index is denoted by beta. Where comes to your amplitude modulation, the modulation index is given as mu. And the modulation index in the amplitude modulation is defined as the depth of the modulation, means how much your signal has been modulated. The depth of that particular modulation is nothing but your modulation index. I hope you all remember. There was 3 cases also: under modulation, over modulation, critical modulation. In amplitude modulation I am saying, in frequency modulation, how you will be defining your modulation index? Your frequency deviation divided by, or the ratio of frequency deviation to the modulated frequency, okay, delta f divided by fm, and this gives you modulation index. And here the condition is, if beta is less than 1, then it is a narrow band frequency modulation, and if beta value is greater than 1, then it is for your wide band frequency modulation. And generation and demodulation, modulation and demodulation techniques we have all seen for each and every modulation type, correct? So that was all about your second chapter. And we have seen direct or indirect method or Armstrong method for generating of your frequency modulations. Then we have seen balanced discriminator methods, Bessel functions. All these are all about your second chapter. Now when comes to the third chapter, we have to see this transmitters and receivers. Before that one, I have finished this analog pulse modulation schemes. I have already said in the tree diagram of your this one, what are the analog pulse modulation schemes. So what are the pulse modulation schemes for? Pulse amplitude modulation, you are applying modulation on particular pulses. Analog pulses you are applying the modulation. So it is analog pulse modulation scheme. So in that one we are having again 3 categories: pulse amplitude modulation, pulse width modulation, and pulse position modulation. So these are the 3 kinds of techniques that you are having in this one: pulse width, pulse position, and pulse amplitude modulation. Then comes to your what you are having in that one, generation process of your pulse amplitude modulation, how you are going to generate by using a sampling and holding circuit, correct? I hope you all remember. Then afterwards for pulse width modulation, you are using multi vibrators there, op amps. By using an op amp you are going to generate your pulse width modulation. And for pulse position modulation, you are using a multi vibrator to the same pulse width modulation block. First you have to generate a pulse position modulated wave. So what you have to do, you have to use the generator or the modulation block of your pulse width modulation, and the output of this pulse width modulated wave has to be given to a multi vibrator or monostable multi vibrator, which in turn produces your PPM signal or the pulse position modulated signal, correct? So what is a pulse amplitude modulation? The amplitude of your pulses will be varying in accordance with your message signal, right? Same as your pulse width, width of your carrier signal will be varied in accordance with your message signal. Third one also same, position of your carrier signal will be varied, or the position of the pulses of the carrier signal will be varied in accordance with your message signal. So this was about your analog pulse modulation schemes. I hope you are clear with the analog pulse modulation schemes, and this was all about your analog pulse modulation schemes. In that very first topic was also about sampling. You have to convert your continuous wave signals into sampled signals, nothing but a particular time period signals. So for that one, the sampling is of again 3 types. First one is natural ideal sampling, then second you will be having natural sampling, then third is flat top sampling, correct? So ideal sampling, what it does, it just normally your continuous wave or the carrier wave or the continuous normal wave will be divided into particular time intervals, correct? So in particular time intervals will be dividing your sampled signal. In natural sampling, what happens, your amplitude will be varied in accordance with your message signal or the reference signal. So if amplitude will be continuously varying, then there is a chance of getting noise in your modulated signal. So as to reduce that one, we are going to the flat top sampling, where your top of your what will say sampled signal will not be changed. So as the amplitude is not changing, it is constant, so there is no particular chance of getting the noise. So mostly we will be using or referring in the flat top sampling when you are going for the pulse modulation schemes. Clear? I hope you are all clear with the 3 chapters what we have discussed till now. So now we are going to see our next topic, or the 4th chapter, that is your transmitters and receivers. Okay, so what is a transmitter first? Transmitter is nothing but which is used to take your information from one place to another place, plus which is converting your message signal into the electrical forms. Correct? Myself is a transmitter, so I'll be sending you all the information, but whatever the mic or the signals that are using, or the modems or the antennas, that are all mixed up, they make a transmitter. They will be converting my voice signal to your electrical forms through a particular channel. Again they will be moving to the receiver. So in this chapter we are completely seeing what is a transmitter, okay, how it will be used, everything that all will be seen in this 4th chapter. So transmitters are the one which takes the information that has to be transmitted and converts it into the electrical form, and then it will send. So here we are having the block diagram of that one. So transmitter, what it does, it modulates the signal. Correct? It modulates the signal so that it can be transmitter for the long distance communication. So it involves the generation also. Okay, it generates from voice signals, it will be generating your electrical signals. Okay, then it will be modulating, and it also amplifies, because it had to amplify, boost up your signal so that it will be moving from transmitter to the receiver. So this is the block diagram. This is your audio signal. I'll give an example there as a microphone. Okay, I am also using a mic. So this converts this mic converts my original signal or the voice signal to the electrical forms. Then it is given to the amplifiers or the audio amplifiers, which will boosting up your message signal. Then you are having a modulator. What are the modulator? It depends upon the type you are using, which type of transmitter, and for which particular application you are using, the modulator will be changing. Here I have used amplitude modulator means AM modulations. Either it will be used FM modulators, you can use, either you can use phase modulators, PM modulators. It completely depends upon the range or the type of which type of short distance or the long distance communication. It completely depends upon particular application that you are using. Okay, so this is the AM modulator I am using, and an RF oscillator, radio frequency oscillator, nothing but which is used to generate your carrier frequency, a high frequency signal. So the carrier frequency generated from here, this is the message signal. They both are modulated or mixed up. Then it is given to your power amplifier, from where it will be given to the antenna, through which, through a particular channel, your signal has to be transmitted and received at the particular receiver's antenna. Right? So next, what you will be having, the classifications of your transmitters. So these transmitters are again classified into 3 types. As I have already said, it completely depends upon which kind of application you are using. See, the classifications, the transmitters are classified into based on your modulations used, either FM, PM,